Stop! If you have old US quarters, then this video is very important for you, because today we're going to talk about the 1965, 1966, 1967, and 1968 Washington quarter dollar coins. They may look common, but they could be hiding surprising value. Did you know that some simple quarters can be worth a lot of money due to rare errors or high grades? In this video, we'll explore their full details, history, and real market value. So make sure to watch till the end. Maybe you already have one of these valuable coins in your collection. And don't forget to tell me in the comments. Now let's get started. The 1965 Washington quarter dollar holds a very important place in United States coin history because it marks a major transition in how American coins were made. This coin carries the inscriptions United States of America, E Pluribus Unum, Liberty, and In God We Trust, along with the image of George Washington, the first president of the United States. While at first glance it may look like an ordinary quarter, the 1965 issue represents a turning point that changed coin production forever due to rising silver prices and economic pressures during the mid-20th century. The obverse front of the 1965 Washington quarter features a left-facing portrait of George Washington. This design was originally created by sculptor John Flanagan in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of Washington's birth. Above Washington's head, the word liberty is clearly inscribed, representing one of the core values of the United States. To the left of his profile, you will find the motto In God We Trust, which reflects the nation's historical emphasis on faith and moral guidance. The date 1965 appears at the bottom of the coin, marking the first year of a major change in composition. On the reverse back of the coin, the design features a majestic eagle with outstretched wings, perched on a bundle of arrows, symbolizing strength and readiness to defend the nation. Beneath the arrows are olive branches, representing peace. Above the eagle's head is a motto E Pluribus Unum, a Latin phrase meaning out of many, one, which reflects the unity of the states. Around the top edge, the words United States of America are inscribed, while quarter dollar appears at the bottom, indicating the coin's denomination. What makes the 1965 Washington quarter particularly significant is its composition. Prior to 1965, U.S. quarters were made of 90% silver and 10% copper. However, due to a shortage of silver and increasing metal costs, the U.S. Mint made a historic decision to eliminate silver from circulating quarters. Starting in 1965, quarters were produced using clad composition consisting of a pure copper core sandwiched between layers of copper-nickel alloy. This change was authorized under the Coinage Act of 1965, which aimed to stabilize coin production and prevent hoarding of silver coins. Because of this transition, the 1965 quarter does not contain any silver, unlike its predecessors. However, it is still highly collectible because it represents the first year of the clad coinage era. Collectors often seek this coin as part of a complete Washington quarter set or as a historical piece symbolizing the end of silver coinage in everyday circulation. Another interesting feature of the 1965 quarter is the absence of a mint mark. During the years 1965 to 1967, the U.S. Mint intentionally removed mint marks from coins to discourage hoarding and speculation. This means that all 1965 quarters appear without any mint mark, regardless of whether they were produced in Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. This makes it impossible to distinguish their origin based on mint marks alone. In terms of mintage, the 1965 Washington quarter was produced in very large numbers. Over 1.8 billion coins were struck, making it one of the most common quarters in U.S. history. Because of this high production, most 1965 quarters found in circulation today are not considered rare. However, coins in uncirculated condition or those with exceptional quality can still hold value among collectors. The value of a 1965 Washington quarter largely depends on its condition. Circulated coins are generally worth their face value of 25 cents. However, uncirculated examples can be worth a few dollars, depending on their grade. Coins graded as MS-65 or higher by professional grading services can command higher prices. Additionally, coins with errors or unique characteristics can be significantly more valuable. Error coins from 1965 are particularly interesting to collectors. Some known errors include double die obverses, off-center strikes, and transitional errors where leftover silver planchets from 1964 were mistakenly used. These rare silver 1965 quarters are extremely valuable and can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars, depending on their condition and authenticity. Finding such a coin is rare, but it adds excitement for collectors searching through old coins. The edge of the 1965 quarter also reflects its clad composition. Unlike silver quarters, which have a solid silver-colored edge, the 1965 coin shows a visible copper stripe along the edge. This is one of the easiest ways to distinguish it from pre-1965 silver quarters. Over time, the 1965 Washington quarter has become a symbol of change in American coinage. It marks the end of an era when coins were made from precious metals and the beginning of modern coin production using more affordable materials. For historians and collectors, this coin represents not just currency but a story of economic adaptation and innovation. Collectors often include the 1965 quarter in their collections as a reminder of this important transition. While it may not be rare in general circulation, its historical significance makes it an essential piece for anyone interested in U.S. coin history. High-grade examples, era coins, and well-preserved specimens continue to attract attention in the numismatic community. The 1966 Washington quarter dollar is an important and fascinating coin in the history of United States currency, representing a continuation of the dramatic changes that began just 1 year earlier. Bearing the inscriptions United States of America, E Pluribus Unum, Liberty, and In God We Trust, this coin carries a familiar and iconic image of George Washington, yet its deeper story reflects a time of economic pressure, innovation, and transformation within the U.S. Mint. Although it may appear to be an ordinary quarter at first glance, the 1966 issue is part of a crucial transitional period that reshaped American coinage for generations to come. The obverse front of the 1966 Washington quarter features the classic left-facing portrait of George Washington, designed by sculptor John Flanagan. This design was first introduced in 1932 to celebrate the 200th anniversary of Washington's birth, and has remained one of the most enduring images in American coinage. Above Washington's head, the word liberty is prominently displayed, symbolizing freedom and the foundational principles of the United States. To the left of his portrait appears a national motto, In God We Trust, which reflects the country's cultural and historical values. At the bottom of the obverse, the date 1966 is clearly inscribed, placing this coin firmly within a pivotal era of monetary change. On the reverse back of the coin, the design continues a traditional imagery seen on Washington quarters since their introduction. A powerful eagle with wings spread wide dominates the center, clutching a bundle of arrows in its talons, representing strength and military readiness. Beneath the arrows lie olive branches, symbolizing peace and the nation's desire for harmony. Above the eagle's head is the inscription E Pluribus Unum, a Latin phrase meaning out of many, one, highlighting the unity of the states. Around the upper edge of the coin are the words United States of America, while the denomination quarter dollar is inscribed along the bottom edge. One of the most significant aspects of the 1966 Washington quarter is its composition. Like the 1965 issue, this coin was produced without silver, marking a major departure from earlier U.S. quarters. Prior to 1965, quarters were composed of 90% silver and 10% copper. However, due to rising silver prices and a nationwide coin shortage, the U.S. government passed the Coinage Act of 1965. This legislation eliminated silver from quarters and dimes, replacing it with a more cost-effective clad composition. The 1966 quarter is therefore made of a copper core bonded between outer layers of copper-nickel alloy, giving it durability and a distinctive appearance. This change in composition also affected the coin's edge. Unlike pre-1965 silver quarters, which have a uniform silver-colored edge, the 1966 quarter reveals a visible copper stripe along its edge. This feature makes it easy to distinguish from older silver coins and serves as a clear indicator of the clad construction that defines modern U.S. coinage. Another notable characteristic of the 1966 Washington quarter is the absence of a mint mark. During the years 1965 through 1967, the U.S. Mint deliberately removed mint marks from coins in an effort to discourage hoarding and speculation. At the time, many people were saving older silver coins, causing shortages in circulation. By eliminating mint marks, the Mint aimed to reduce collector interest and keep coins in everyday use. As a result, all 1966 quarters were struck without a mint mark, regardless of whether they were produced in Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. In terms of mintage, the 1966 Washington quarter was produced in extremely large quantities. Over 821 million coins were struck, ensuring that there would be enough quarters to meet the demands of commerce. Because of this high mintage, the 1966 quarter is very common and can still be found in circulation today. Most examples are worth only their face value of 25 cents, especially if they show signs of wear from everyday use. However, condition plays a crucial role in determining the value of a 1966 quarter. Coins that have been well preserved and remain in uncirculated condition can be worth more to collectors. High-grade examples, particularly those graded MS-65 or higher, may command higher prices in the numismatic market. Additionally, coins with exceptional luster, sharp details, and minimal contact marks are especially desirable. Error coins from 1966 add another layer of interest for collectors. Some known errors include double dies, off-center strikes, clip planches, and other minting anomalies. These errors can significantly increase the value of a coin, sometimes making it worth hundreds of dollars or more, depending on the rarity and visibility of the error. Although such coins are uncommon, they are highly sought after by collectors who specialize in mint errors. Another fascinating aspect of the 1966 Washington quarter is its role in the broader context of American economic history. The mid-1960s were a time of rapid change, with increasing demand for coinage and rising metal prices creating challenges for the U.S. Mint. The shift to clad coinage was a practical solution that allowed the government to continue producing coins without relying on precious metals. The 1966 quarter, therefore, stands as a symbol of this adaptation and the beginning of a new era in coin production. For collectors, the 1966 quarter is an essential part of any Washington quarter collection. While it may not be rare in terms of mintage, its historical significance makes it an important piece. Many collectors include it as part of a complete date set, or as an example of the early clad coinage period. Its connection to the Coinage Act of 1965 and the end of silver coinage adds to its appeal. Over the years, the 1966 Washington quarter has remained a familiar and recognizable coin in everyday life. Its design has stood the test of time, continuing to be used on quarters for decades, even as commemorative and state-themed designs have been introduced. Despite these changes, the original Washington design remains a cornerstone of American coinage. The 1967 Washington quarter dollar is a historically significant coin in United States numismatics, representing the final year of a unique transitional period in American coinage. Carrying the inscriptions United States of America, E Pluribus Unum, Liberty, and In God We Trust, along with a familiar portrait of George Washington, this coin may appear ordinary at first glance, but it embodies an important chapter in the evolution of U.S. currency. Issued during a time of economic adjustment and coin shortages, the 1967 quarter reflects the government's efforts to modernize coin production while maintaining stability in everyday commerce. The obverse front of the 1967 Washington quarter features a timeless left-facing profile of George Washington, designed by sculptor John Flanagan. This design was originally introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of Washington's birth and quickly became one of the most iconic images in American coinage. The word liberty is prominently displayed above Washington's head, symbolizing the core value upon which the United States was founded. To the left of his portrait appears the motto, In God We Trust, reflecting the nation's long-standing cultural and spiritual traditions. At the bottom of the obverse, the date 1967 is clearly inscribed, marking the final year of a significant transition period in coin production. On the reverse, back of the coin, the design continues a traditional imagery used on Washington quarters for decades. A powerful eagle with its wings fully spread dominates the center, symbolizing strength, vigilance, and national pride. The eagle clutches a bundle of arrows in its talons, representing military readiness and the ability to defend the nation. Beneath the arrows are olive branches, signifying peace and the desire for harmony. Above the eagle's head is the inscription, E Pluribus Unum, a Latin phrase meaning out of many, one, emphasizing the unity of the states. Around the upper edge of the coin, the words United States of America are inscribed, while quarter dollar appears at the bottom, identifying the coin's denomination. One of the most defining characteristics of the 1967 Washington Quarter is its composition. Like the 1965 and 1966 issues, this coin was produced using a clad composition rather than silver. Prior to 1965, U.S. quarters were made of 90% silver, but rising silver prices and widespread hoarding led to a shortage of coins in circulation. In response, the Coinage Act of 1965 authorized a shift to a more economical composition. The 1967 quarter is therefore made of a pure copper core sandwiched between outer layers of copper-nickel alloy. This construction provided durability and reduced production costs, ensuring that enough coins could be produced to meet public demand. The clad composition of the 1967 quarter is also visible along its edge. Unlike older silver quarters, which have a consistent silver-colored edge, the 1967 coin displays a distinctive copper stripe along the edge. This feature is one of the easiest ways to identify it as a clad coin and distinguish it from pre-1965 silver issues. Another notable feature of the 1967 Washington Quarter is the absence of a mint mark. During the years 1965 through 1967, the U.S. Mint removed mint marks from all coins in an effort to discourage hoarding and speculation. At the time, collectors and the general public were saving older silver coins, which led to a shortage in circulation. By eliminating mint marks, the Mint aimed to reduce the appeal of collecting new coins and encourage their use in everyday transactions. As a result, all 1967 quarters were struck without a mint mark, regardless of where they were produced. In terms of mintage, the 1967 Washington Quarter was produced in very large numbers. Approximately 1.5 billion coins were struck, making it one of the most widely circulated quarters of its time. Because of this high mintage, the 1967 quarter is considered very common, and most examples found today are worth only their face value of 25 cents when in circulated condition. However, as with all coins, condition plays a crucial role in determining value. Uncirculated 1967 quarters, especially those with strong luster and minimal contact marks, can be worth more to collectors. High-grade examples graded MS65 or above by professional grading services are particularly desirable and can command higher prices in the collector market. Coins with exceptional eye appeal, sharp details, and original mint brilliance are especially sought after. Error coins from 1967 add an additional layer of interest and potential value. Some known mint errors include double dies, off-center strikes, die cracks, and clip planches. These errors can make a coin unique and significantly increase its value, sometimes reaching hundreds of dollars depending on the rarity and visibility of the error. Collectors who specialize in error coins often search through rolls of quarters in hopes of finding these unusual and valuable pieces. The 1967 Washington Quarter also holds importance as the final year of the mint mark suspension period. In 1968, mint marks were reintroduced, marking the end of this experimental phase. As such, the 1967 quarter represents a conclusion of a 3-year effort by the U.S. Mint to address coin shortages and stabilize the currency system. This gives the coin a special place in the timeline of American numismatic history. From a historical perspective, the 1967 quarter reflects a period of economic adjustment and innovation. The shift from silver to clad coinage was a significant change that allowed the United States to continue producing coins without relying on precious metals. This transition ensured the availability of coinage for everyday transactions and laid the foundation for modern coin production methods that are still in use today. For collectors, the 1967 Washington Quarter is an essential piece of any Washington Quarter collection. While it may not be rare in terms of mintage, its historical significance and role in the transition to clad coinage make it an important addition. Many collectors include it as part of a complete date set or as an example of mid-20th century U.S. coinage. Over time, the 1967 Washington Quarter has remained a familiar and widely recognized coin. Its design has endured for decades, even as new quarter designs have been introduced through commemorative programs such as the 50-State Quarters and America the Beautiful series. Despite these changes, the original Washington design continues to be appreciated for its simplicity, elegance, and historical significance. The 1968 Washington Quarter dollar represents an important continuation of modern United States coinage following the major transition away from silver that began in the mid-1960s. bearing the familiar inscription United States of America, E Pluribus Unum, Liberty, and In God We Trust, along with the iconic portrait of George Washington. This coin reflects both tradition and change. While at first glance it may seem similar to earlier Washington quarters, the 1968 issue stands out as a year when mint marks were officially reintroduced after a temporary suspension, making it a key date for collectors and historians interested in the evolution of American currency. The obverse front of the 1968 Washington quarter features the classic left-facing portrait of George Washington, designed by sculptor John Flanagan. This design, first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the bicentennial of Washington's birth, has become one of the most recognizable images in U.S. coinage. The word liberty appears prominently above Washington's head, symbolizing the foundational principle of freedom. To the left of his profile is a national motto, In God We Trust, which reflects the country's enduring cultural values. At the bottom of the coin, the date 1968 is clearly inscribed, marking its place in the post-transition era of clad coinage. The reverse back of the coin continues a traditional design that had been used on Washington quarters for decades. A powerful eagle with wings spread wide occupies the center, symbolizing strength, vigilance, and national pride. The eagle clutches a bundle of arrows in its talons, representing the nation's readiness to defend itself, while olive branches beneath the arrows signify peace. Above the eagle's head is the inscription E Pluribus Unum, meaning out of many, one, emphasizing unity among the states. The words United States of America curve along the upper edge of the coin, while quarter dollar is inscribed along the bottom, clearly identifying its denomination. One of the most significant developments associated with the 1968 Washington quarter is the return of mint marks. From 1965 through 1967, mint marks have been removed from all U.S. coins in an effort to discourage hoarding during a nationwide coin shortage. However, by 1968, the situation had stabilized, and the U.S. Mint reinstated mint marks to indicate where each coin was produced. For the 1968 quarter, mint marks appear on the obverse side, just to the right of Washington's neck. Coins struck in Philadelphia carry no mint mark, while those produced in Denver feature a D mint mark. Additionally, San Francisco produced special proof coins with an S mint mark for collectors. The composition of the 1968 Washington quarter follows the clad standard established in 1965. Unlike earlier quarters that contained 90% silver, the 1968 coin is made of a copper core bonded between outer layers of copper-nickel alloy. This change was introduced to reduce production costs and ensure a stable supply of coinage for everyday transactions. The clad construction also gives the coin a distinctive appearance, particularly along the edge, where a visible copper stripe can be seen. This feature makes it easy to distinguish the 1968 quarter from pre-1965 silver quarters. In terms of mintage, the 1968 Washington quarter were produced in large quantities to meet the demands of circulation. Hundreds of millions of coins were struck at the Philadelphia and Denver mints, ensuring that quarters remained readily available for commerce. Because of this high mintage, the 1968 quarter is relatively common and can still be found in circulation today. Most circulated examples are worth their face value of 25 cents. However, as with many coins, the value of a 1968 quarter can vary depending on its condition. Coins that have been preserved in uncirculated condition, with sharp details and original mint luster, are more desirable to collectors. High-grade examples, particularly those graded MS65 or higher, can command higher prices in the numismatic market. Proof coin produced at the San Francisco Mint are especially sought after for their mirror-like surfaces and sharp strikes, making them attractive additions to collections. Error coins from 1968 also add an element of excitement for collectors. Some known mint errors include double dies, off-center strikes, clip planches, and die cracks. These errors can significantly increase the value of a coin, depending on their rarity and visual appeal. Collectors often search through rolls of coins in hopes of discovering these unique and valuable pieces. Another interesting aspect of the 1968 Washington quarter is its role in the broader timeline of U.S. coinage. As one of the first years after the reintroduction of mint marks, it marks a return to normal coin production practices following the experimental period of 1965 to 1967. This makes the 1968 quarter an important milestone in the history of modern American coins. The The 1968 quarter also reflects the ongoing evolution of U.S. currency during a time of economic change. The shift to clad coinage allowed the United States to move away from reliance on precious metals, ensuring that coins could be produced efficiently and economically. This decision had a lasting impact, as clad coinage continues to be used in the production of U.S. coins today. For collectors, the 1968 Washington Quarter is an essential part of a complete Washington Quarter set. While it may not be rare in general circulation, its historical significance and connection to the return of mint marks make it an important piece. Collectors often seek examples from different mints, as well as high-grade improved versions, to complete their collections. Over time, the Washington Quarter design has remained a consistent and recognizable symbol of American coinage. Even as new designs have been introduced through commemorative programs, the original portrait of George Washington continues to be used, reflecting the enduring legacy of the nation's vice president. The 1968 Quarter, with its combination of classic design and modern composition, represents a bridge between the past and the present.